So here's something pretty exciting that we don't get to do every day. A side-by-side comparison of our model with the competitor's model. Now here I have a 2021 Yukon SLT, and right next to it I do have parked a Ford Expedition Limited. Now if you're familiar with both of these brands, those are very comparable trim levels. Okay, so we're going apples to apples here. A couple things I noticed right away, size-wise they are very, very similar. However, I was crawling around in the back of them, checking out the third row, the second row, getting a good feel for what are my passengers going to feel like in this vehicle. There is a ton more legroom, second and third row in the Yukon as opposed to the Expedition, where I felt my knees were rubbing on the back of the seat no matter what I did. On top of that, the second row in the Yukon, you can actually slide forward and back to allow more or less legroom for the third row as needed. There's not a ton of space behind the third seat if you did have a full load with you. Okay, not a ton of room for groceries, strollers, that sort of thing, right? Whereas if you come over to the Yukon, again, kind of hard to tell on the video, it's more something you should see in person, but there is significantly more room behind that third row. Quite a bit. The other thing I really liked was both of these vehicles do have the option to power fold both the second and third row, which is super nice. However, the Yukon, you can do that from actually the driver's seat. There's a button on the roof to fold those seats down, whereas in the Expedition there is not. Now, me being a mom, what that means for me is that when it's minus 30 outside, I'm gonna have to get out of my vehicle to let my kids into this one. Whereas with this one, I don't. I can just roll up to school, press that button, away I go. Okay? When we come around the side here on the new 2021, these center seats also recline quite a ways, which was super, super nice. So very, very comfortable. Another thing I did notice right away was the sunroof. Now our sunroof actually progresses farther back, so more open air space than the Expedition does. As well, the screen on the front there that prevents the bugs from flying in on the Yukon was about twice as tall as the Expedition. So again, that means less wasps smacking your kids in the face, which to me is pretty important. Okay, so we'll take a look in the interior here. I've got some of my junk in here, so ignore this, but we now have wireless CarPlay in the Yukon, which I did try out and was very, very nice. And the sound system in here, it puts the Expedition to shame, okay? I'm not gonna lie about it, I'm secretly a 16-year-old boy. I like to have my music up real loud. My neighbors not big fans of me, but that's who I am. So I did notice the Yukon did not disappoint, whereas the Expedition, it was okay. Just okay. That's all. I wasn't blown away. Now if you look at the front end styling, again, quite different, but personal preference. Myself, I'm still a big fan of that Yukon front end. I think they look really mean, quite aggressive. The other thing to note is that the Yukons are actually on the same engines, platforms, and transmissions as our trucks. So that means they drive heavy, which again, when you're on snow, when you're on ice, it's kind of nice to feel heavy rather than feel like you're blowing around, right? So now that we've had this side-by-side look, obviously I would encourage anybody who's stuck between these two models to get here this week so you can literally do exactly what I'm doing, side-by-side. But let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. Which one are you leaning towards? Which one do you like? Or if there's any features I didn't cover that you'd like to see, just let me know.